You think you're in control of your life, don't you? You plan, you set goals, you manage every step, every breath. But what about the things you never pay attention to? The fleeting thoughts that pass through your mind, the glances, the whispers, the times you brushed someone off, the tiny emotions you thought were harmless. Do they just vanish into the void? Or are they quietly shaping your destiny in ways you never imagined? My name is Olivia Bennett, and I died. At least, that's what the doctors recorded in my file. Cardiac arrest, 3 minutes and 46 seconds. But to me, death wasn't an ending. It was a gate, an invitation to see a truth I had spent my whole life avoiding. It was an ordinary Thursday in New York, a routine heart surgery, a mechanical valve replacement, a procedure that had been done thousands of times. No reason to worry. And that was the trap. The moment you think you're safest, it is often when fate has you right in its hands. I woke up not in a hospital room, not in my own body, but in a place where human language simply falls short. There was no ceiling, no floor, only a living space, invisible yet breathing, pulsing in sync with even my faintest thoughts. I was weightless, suspended, yet I could feel everything. Every thought I had rippled through the space like a wave. Every fear, every flicker of hope manifested into streams of light or shadow flowing out from me. You are not what you create. You are what you think. A voice not from outside, but from deep within the very core of my being. A voice that felt like both a question and a gentle reminder. Olivia, it's time to see the truth. I was being lifted, gently, without resistance, carried through layers of light, past drifting souls, through invisible doorways leading to realms the human mind has never even dreamed of. And then I saw it. A river of light. No water, no waves, just pure light flowing fiercely, yet silently. Each current of light was a thought, an action, a feeling, emanating from billions of souls living on Earth. Some streams glowed bright, like comets streaking across the cosmos. Others were dark as ink, twisting, weaving, quietly seeping into the light. Every thought is a heartbeat in the heart of the world. I looked down, and I saw myself as Olivia Bennett in moments that once seemed insignificant. A time I frowned at a stranger on the street. A quiet moment of encouragement was offered to a panicked patient. A harsh word snapped at my younger brother simply because I was tired. Every small act created a ripple in the river of light. Some streams flared brightly, connecting with hundreds of other luminous currents, multiplying into a vast web of love. Others dimmed, darkening like wounds spreading outward, clouding the light around them. I was stunned. I had never imagined. A single glance, a single word, a single thought. It could change the world. You are never invisible. You always leave a mark on every soul you touch. And then the old question echoed once again in my mind. Are you truly in control of your life? Or are the things you've dismissed the very forces shaping your destiny? A shiver ran through the entirety of my soul's being. I knew the worst was yet to come. I knew an even greater truth was waiting for me. It wasn't enough to see the river of light. I had to swim against its current. I had to face every action, every thought I had ever put into the world. I had to answer for them all. And that was only the first step. I thought I understood what good and evil meant, but when I saw the real consequences of even my smallest thoughts, I realized I had never truly known the world I had helped create. In the next part, you'll see how even our quietest thoughts have been writing the fate of thousands of souls. Before I died, I was a woman who was fine. Fine in everyone's eyes. Fine at work. Fine in my role as a mother. Even fine in the polite smiles I gave the world. But deep inside, there was something that had never been fine. My name is Olivia Bennett. I'm 47 years old. Before that fateful surgery, I was the lead trauma therapist at a post-crisis recovery center. Sounds noble, doesn't it? A person who helps others heal. But I had never healed myself. I lived by logic. I measured effectiveness with KPIs. I managed emotions like people manage a budget, precise, limited, and never in deficit. I believed control was the key to everything. Control over time, control over mood, control over others, and control over myself, so much so that I no longer knew what I truly felt. I used to believe that the past is the past, let it rest. But what I didn't know was the past doesn't sleep. It lies in wait until the perfect moment to consume you from the inside. I lived for 30 years without forgiving my father. A quiet, stern, withdrawn man who walked out on my mother and me after one final argument without a word of goodbye. I always believed he was the one at fault. I always saw myself as the victim. And I wrote the story of my entire life on top of that wound, in the handwriting of a child still pouting inside a grown woman. I got married, divorced after 8 years, not because there wasn't love, but because I didn't know how to let myself be vulnerable with someone else. I built walls. I buried sadness beneath a packed schedule. I replaced apologies with polite thank you emails. I played every role well except the lead in my own life. Once, my daughter, who was 10 at the time, asked me, "Mom, why don't you ever cry?" I smiled and patted her head, because Mommy's strong. But inside me, something small shattered. I didn't cry because I was strong. I didn't cry because I was afraid that if I started, I might never stop. I used to think, as long as I'm heading in the right direction, that's enough. What I didn't realize was, some wounds, if you don't stop to heal them, will bleed quietly through your entire life. And then, my body began to speak. Persistent fatigue, restless sleep. My heart, once thought strong, began to throb with uneven rhythms. The doctor's diagnosis? Your heart valve is leaking. Surgery is recommended sooner rather than later. I nodded. Like I had so many times in my life, I chose to do what needed to be done, not because I understood it, but because I was used to doing what was expected. The night before the surgery, I sat alone. No phone calls, no journaling, no prayers. Just staring at the black screen of the TV, where, for the first time, I truly saw myself. A woman of many achievements, but with no real joy left in her eyes. I asked myself, if I don't wake up tomorrow, would I regret anything? And in that moment, an image of my father appeared. His eyes, his voice was deep, dry, a tone I hadn't heard since I was 15. I had never forgiven him, and I had never told him, "I miss you, Dad." The question echoed again. You think you still have time? I went into surgery the next morning. My mind was calm. My heartbeat was steady, until it wasn't. And as you already know, I died. But in that very moment, I began to truly live. I thought I was only having heart surgery, but in truth, the universe was operating on the part of my soul that had gone numb for years. In the next part, you'll witness what happens when the soul leaves the body and sees itself from a vantage point no one else ever gets to see. Death doesn't arrive with a bang. It comes with absolute silence. No pain, no fear, just a quiet shift in awareness. I was no longer a body lying on an operating table. I was a point of light, silently drifting toward the ceiling of the operating room. I saw everything, saw the surgeon shouting, saw the nurse sprinting out to grab blood, saw myself, Olivia, motionless, pale, with a heart that had stopped. And for the first time in my life, I looked at myself the way you look at a stranger, not through a mirror, not in a photo, but in 3 dimensions, complete, unfiltered, no flattering angles, no place to hide. My face was exhausted, my body fragile, the loneliness beneath my skin as clear as if it had never been concealed. I asked myself, is that me? Did I truly live like that? In that moment, I didn't feel fear, just awe. I was no longer attached to my body. I was no longer Olivia, 47, head of psychological services. I was pure awareness, hovering just above the life that had defined me for decades. Then I heard a voice, not spoken, but a soundless whisper that echoed deep within me. Don't look down, look up. I looked up, and everything opened. The ceiling vanished, the floors of the hospital faded. The entire city below shrank like a miniature model. I was being lifted higher, faster, light as smoke, but I wasn't cold, I wasn't afraid, I wasn't lost. There was only one strange feeling. I was going home. There was no gravity, no concept of time, only movement, like a wind that knew exactly where it was going. I drifted through a veil of misty clouds. I saw a sky deeper, richer, with dimensions no human eye had ever touched. And then, before me, appeared a tunnel of light. Not a dark tunnel, but a massive spiral, glowing like stardust, swirling like a living galaxy. I didn't step into it. I was drawn in. I no longer thought in words. I felt in vibration, and that vibration spoke to me. Every soul has its path. This is yours. I flew through that tunnel of light with no beginning, no end. Only streams of memory rushed past me. Moments I had long forgotten, now alive again. My daughter's first smile. My brother's disappointed eyes. My mother's final embrace. The words I never got to say to my late father. I forgive you, Dad. All of it flowed like living data, racing through the nervous system of my soul. And then the tunnel ended. I burst out of it like a newborn child emerging from the womb, but instead of crying, I breathed. Before me was another realm. No sky, no ground. Only a gentle, warm light was soaking into the very marrow of my soul. And from the left, a figure approached. Not quite male, not quite female. Just a form of light, human-shaped, but not blinding, and not unfamiliar. That light looked at me as if it had known me for thousands of lifetimes. I didn't ask for a name. I just knew this was the one who would guide me through the greatest truth of my life. No words were needed. They simply reached out a hand in silence. And I understood it was time to look back at everything. Not through memories, but through the real impact of every action, every thought, every word I had ever spoken to anyone on earth. I heard the final invitation. Olivia, you have lived. Now look and see what you have created. I thought I had only lived my life, but as I looked at the true timeline, I realized every action I had taken had touched hundreds, even thousands of other souls. In the next part, you'll see that every glance, every word you speak can create either heaven or hell inside someone else's heart. I followed the human-shaped light, not with my feet, but guided by a force gentler than any word, and yet stronger than any will. Before me was an oval-shaped chamber. No ceiling, no walls, no material I had ever known. Only light breathing, a light that knew how to love. At the center of the room stood a white stone table, shimmering. It wasn't cold like marble. It felt like memories made solid. Surrounding that table were figures of light, people I didn't remember meeting, but my soul recognized them instantly. They knew me. They had been with me, and now they were here to help me see the whole truth. A soft mist rose from the center of the stone table, and then something appeared. Images of myself from the moment I was born to the moment I took my last breath on the operating table. I didn't just watch. I returned to each moment. I relived everything, but this time I could also feel what others had felt in response to my every action. I saw myself at age 8 shouting at my mother, "I hate you!" I heard her quiet sobbing behind the door, and I felt her heart breaking piece by piece. I saw myself at 19 quietly walking away after letting my best friend down. I felt his loneliness stretch on for an entire year like a hole in his heart that no one could fill. But then, I saw a moment when I placed my hand on the shoulder of a panicked patient. I didn't say a word. I was simply present, and I felt their fear begin to ease like water being poured over a flame. The little things you think mean nothing, they are drops of water that can save the soul of someone who is burning. I saw even the things I thought had long been forgotten. A smile I gave to a cashier on a cold, rainy day. A look of annoyance I directed at a homeless person. A late-night text of encouragement I sent. A moment of silence, just because I was busy, that made someone believe they were no longer worth caring about. Every one of them created ripples. I cried. Not because I was being judged. No one scolded me. No one pointed a finger at my mistakes. There was only love. A love so pure, it made me want to be more honest than any accusation ever could. I was shown something I had never truly understood my entire life. There is no such thing as a neutral act. Every action carries force. Every action tips the scale, either toward the light or toward the dark. And then, I was shown an image not from the past, but from a future that could happen. A little girl, about the same age as my daughter, was sitting alone in her room, writing in her journal through tears. Mom was never really there. I was stunned. I had never realized how deep my silence had reached. I thought I had been present, but in truth, I had only been around, never truly with her. I collapsed, not onto my knees, but with the full weight of my being, under the weight of regret. And then, the voice of my spirit guide returned softer than ever. You have seen. You have felt. Now you are given the choice. Stay or go back and do it differently. I looked toward the far end of the chamber. A gate of light stood open. Beyond it, I could feel absolute peace. No pressure, no pain, no need to run. Only a return. But within me, something held me back. Not out of regret, not out of fear, but because I knew there was still something left to do. I thought the lesson was learning to forgive others, but no, the real lesson was this. I had to learn how to forgive myself. In the next part, you'll see between the light of heaven and the raw truth of the heart, I was forced to choose, to stay or to return, and neither path was easy. I stood before the gate of light. There was no guardian, no signpost, only a presence of pure, unconditional love, inviting but never forcing. It didn't call to me with words. It drew me in with peace, the very peace I had spent my whole life chasing, but never truly grasped. Behind me, the life review chamber faded. The painful images melted away, as if the universe was gently saying, "You've seen enough. Now rest." And I thought I wanted that. I thought letting go of every burden was what I needed most. But the heart of my soul, the deepest part of me, was not silent. I thought of my daughter, not as a child who had lived with me, but as a soul who had chosen me to be her mother, to learn the lesson of love. I thought of my brother, who had never understood why I seemed so distant. I thought of every person I had ever touched, and those I had yet to touch. If I stay, what might I miss? Then a voice echoed, not from anywhere, but like the resonance of thousands of souls who had passed this way before me. If you stay, you will have peace. But if you return, you will be transformed, and you will transform the world. I hesitated. I didn't know if I was brave enough. I wasn't sure I could live differently. I wasn't sure I wouldn't make the same mistakes again. But a soft breath within me spoke faintly, but unmistakably. If I've been shown all of this, how could I possibly turn away? I didn't want to be the old me anymore. I didn't want to live another life of control, calculation, and keeping up appearances. I wanted to live a life that touched others with truth, with compassion, with full presence. So, what do you choose? I looked again at the gate of light where peace was promised. Then I looked within at the hundreds of things still left unsaid, unlived, ungiven. I smiled for the first time in this entire journey. I was certain of the answer. I choose to go back. At that very moment, the light before me transformed into a radiant white vortex, not pulling me in, but sending me back. There was no music, no glory. Only one truth remained in me. Love is not meant to be held. Love is meant to be given. And I knew I had to return, to give it fully for the very first time. I traveled back through the tunnel of light, not fast, not slow, but exactly in rhythm, like the heartbeat of a soul awakened. I saw the physical world begin to reappear, the hospital, my body, my mother sobbing uncontrollably. My daughter, clutching my hand, was trembling. And I knew, even if they might never believe what I was about to share, I still had to tell it. Because this story isn't for others to understand. It's for me, so I never forget. I once had the chance to enter heaven, but I chose to stay, to turn this life into a little piece of heaven. I came back not with perfect memory, but with a new soul. And the first thing I saw when I opened my eyes wasn't the hospital lights, but the eyes of my daughter. You won't believe the first thing I whispered to her. I opened my eyes. No heavenly soundtrack, no blinding white light, just a hospital ceiling lined with dim, flickering bulbs. And my daughter's tear-soaked face pressed against mine, whispering, "Mom, can you hear me?" I couldn't speak right away. My lips were dry, my throat clenched like someone had wrapped it in wire. But my eyes were overflowing, not with fear, but because I could feel every heartbeat returning not to my chest, but to my soul. I came back, but I wasn't the same person. The doctors called it a medical miracle, but I knew it wasn't a miracle. It was a choice, a conscious decision to live again, moment by moment. In the early days of recovery, I no longer thought about work, achievements, deadlines, or accomplishments. I sat for hours just to listen to the sound of my heartbeat. I looked out the window, and for the first time, I truly saw that the sky was blue. I looked into my daughter's eyes, and for the first time, I was fully present. I spoke less, listened more. I hugged my mother, not to make up for the past, but to change the present. I no longer wished to be perfect. I wished to be real. And I realized, you don't have to die to start living again. You only have to let go of who you thought you were. I began sharing my journey with anyone who wanted to listen, not to convince them, but to remind myself never to forget. I rewrote every memory, no longer avoiding the painful chapters, because I understood our scars are the letters the soul leaves behind, carved onto the heart. One day, my daughter asked me, "Mom, what did you see when you died?" I didn't tell her about the light or the tunnel. I simply held her hand, looked deep into her eyes, and said, "I saw that every thought in your mind, every action you choose, is creating a world for you and for everyone you touch." She was silent, then nodded as if she understood not with her mind, but with a young soul still growing day by day. Since then, I no longer live to control. I live to create ripples of kindness. I learned to say thank you when no one expected it. I said I'm sorry even when the blame wasn't fully mine. I paused when someone needed to be held. I walked slower so I wouldn't leave my feelings behind. I lived, not to successfully survive, but to be kindly present. And you, the one listening to me now, you are creating ripples of your own. The question isn't, what are you creating? The question is, are you aware of that power? Remember this, no thought is too small. No glance is meaningless. No act of kindness is ever wasted. You don't have to die to come back to life. You just have to dare to wake up right now. I stepped into heaven, but chose to come back. And now I carry that heaven with me in every step I take. The thing you can't control may be the very thing shaping your destiny. But if you choose to wake up right here, right now, you get to decide what that will be. If you've ever gone through something that made you look at yourself differently, or if a single thought or small action has ever filled you with regret or gratitude, share it in the comments below. Because maybe your story is the light someone else needs right now. And if journeys like this one speak to your soul, hit follow. There are many more near-death experiences, stories of awakening and healing waiting to be told. And maybe the next one will be yours. Or maybe it's meant for you.